Some of us need to walk their lives with a bit of an extra special backpack. One that comes with extremely high moods and extremely low moods, and that's bipolar disorder. I myself am bipolar, and in this video, let's explore this mental health disorder a bit more in depth. Bipolar affects millions of people worldwide and is heavily stigmatized and often misunderstood. So in this video, I will explore with you the various aspects of bipolar disorder, its definition, causes, treatment. It's a complex mental health condition that affects a person's mood, energy, and general ability to function in everyday life. And it's characterized by these extreme mood swings, from mania to depression, where these episodes can last for days, weeks, or even months. And on top of that, it's often very difficult to diagnose and to treat effectively. Next to extreme mania and extreme depression, there might also be episodes of hypomania, which is just below mania, high mood but not extremely high mood, but also long, stable phases. But let's look a bit closer into these different mood states. Let's start with mania. In their manic phase, people with bipolar might experience elevated moods, extreme optimism, increased energy and activity levels, racing thoughts, reduced need for sleep, impulsivity and risky behavior, and a difficulty concentrating. And all of that up to a point where they do not function in their everyday life anymore. Hypomania is a weaker form in which all of these aspects may also be present, but overall the person still manages their everyday life. On the other hand, there is depression, with which you might be more familiar. It's the same as in unipolar depression, so a bit of the opposite, like persistent sadness and hopelessness, fatigue and loss of energy, much more sleep or much less sleep, or much more appetite or much less appetite, feeling of guilt or worthlessness, and also suicidal thoughts or actions. And on top of that, there's also some people with bipolar who would experience mixed episodes, where both aspects of mania and aspects of depression come together at the same time. So now we've learned that there's different types of episodes that a person with bipolar can experience, but there's also different types of bipolar. So when you are receiving a diagnosis, it might be bipolar 1 or bipolar 2. These are the most common ones. Generally speaking, bipolar 1 is diagnosed when there has been at least one manic episode, and bipolar 2 when there has been both hypomanic episodes and depression. So generally one can say that bipolar 1 comes with more extreme mania than bipolar 2, whereas overall bipolar 2 may come with less severe manic episodes, but potentially longer depressive episodes. The exact causes of bipolar disorder are not well understood. There seems to be a genetic factor, so people with bipolar history in their own family are more likely to have it themselves, but there seem to be also some environmental factors involved, and a first episode, like the first time one goes into mania or depression, is mostly linked to some sort of traumatic or intense emotional event that sort of kicks the person into their first episode. Once you have bipolar, it is not necessarily something you can heal from. It's something you can learn to live with, but which will always be a vulnerability for the rest of your life. Diagnosis and treatment. Diagnosis for bipolar can always take a while, just because it is also for the mental health professional who might, give a diagnosis. A pattern has to be sort of emerging, and with the first depressive episode or the first manic episode, that might not right away be so clear. So there is quite often first a period of being diagnosed first with depression, and it just taking some time until you and your care team come to the point where it's clear this is bipolar, and therefore these are our treatment options. Bipolar is treated with, first of all, medication to stabilize the mood. So there are so-called mood stabilizers like lithium, but also antipsychotics that work like mood stabilizers, where it's time to go and search for the medication that works for you. On top of that, it can be very helpful to have some psychoeducation, learning about sleep, medication in general, about creating structure in your everyday life, which can be very helpful for people with bipolar disorder. I personally received that in my day clinic, and I'm very thankful for that. But of course, also one-on-one therapy, for example, cognitive behavioral therapy, can be very helpful in managing your everyday life. And otherwise, it is also about a healthy lifestyle, no drugs, no alcohol, lots of structure, sport, exercise, not too much stress to help you stay stable and avoid potential episodes in the future. And of course, it's super important to build your network, whether it is the hospital you might have to go to in a crisis situation, your therapist, your friends, your family. They also give you the stability to live a good and high quality life. So yes, with the right support system, with a lot of introspection and self-monitoring, I now, for example, after my diagnosis 4 years ago, feel like I am at a point where, yes, I am bipolar, I have bipolar, but it is not ruling my life anymore, and I will be able to have a good life also with it. If you or someone you know is struggling with bipolar disorder, do not hesitate to seek help. There are many resources available, and it's incredibly important to seek professional mental health support in order for you or the person you know learns to live with this challenge in their life and to find the support they need to do so effectively. So yeah, it is a complex disorder. It brings a ton of challenges, both for the person who has it and the people around them. But with the right support, the right medication, the right changes in lifestyle, you can have a fulfilling life. Everything starts with a bit of empathy and with a bit of understanding, either to help yourself or to help someone you're close to who has bipolar, and for generally understanding others who are struggling with this disorder. So I wish you a good chunk of understanding and empathy, and if it is relevant for you, also the strength to take action to seek help.